My name's David, I'm 37, and I've been married to my wife, Claire, for nearly 10 years. We met in grad school. She was smart, funny, ambitious. The kind of woman everyone gravitated to. Claire had this way of lighting up a room, you know. Her laugh was infectious, and her ambition matched mine perfectly. We were the couple everyone envied, the one that had it all figured out. Our life was normal. We both worked full-time. I was a project manager at a tech firm, and she worked in marketing for a pharmaceutical company. We had a cozy home in the suburbs, a golden retriever named Max, and we're planning to start a family soon. We'd spent the last year trying, actually. Doctor's appointments, tracking cycles, the whole 9 yards. It was stressful, but we were in it together. Or so I thought. About a year ago, Claire mentioned she'd run into an old college friend named Ethan at a conference downtown. She came home that evening more animated than I'd seen her in months. "You won't believe who I saw today," she said, practically bouncing into the kitchen where I was making dinner. "Who?" I asked, stirring pasta sauce. "Ethan Morrison. We were in the same psychology program back at State. God, we were so close back then. We lost touch after graduation, and now he's going through a rough divorce. Poor guy looked devastated. She said he just needed someone to talk to, someone who understood him from the old days. I didn't think much of it. I trusted her completely. Why wouldn't I? In nearly a decade together, she'd never given me a reason to doubt her. We'd always had an open, honest relationship. Or at least, I thought we did. "That's nice of you to reconnect," I said, kissing her forehead. "Invite him over for dinner sometime if you want." She smiled, but something flickered in her eyes that I didn't recognize then. Something I'd replay in my mind 1,000 times later. But soon Ethan was everywhere. Not physically at first, but his presence infiltrated every corner of our life. He'd text her late at night, and she'd smile at her phone in the dark, the screen illuminating her face with an expression I used to think was reserved for me. When I'd ask what was so funny, she'd say it was just memes, or you wouldn't get it, it's an inside joke from college. She started dressing differently, nicer outfits, new perfume, more makeup, but only on days she said she was meeting a friend for coffee, or catching up with someone from work. I noticed she'd started going to the gym more often, bought new lingerie that I never saw her wear at home. When I complimented her new look, she'd shrug it off. Just felt like putting in more effort for myself. The phone calls became more frequent. She'd step outside to take them, even in the middle of winter. "It's about his divorce, really private stuff," she'd explain when she came back in, her cheeks flushed from the cold, or something else. Our intimacy dwindled. She was always tired or stressed from work, or not in the mood. We went from making love several times a week to maybe once a month, and even then she seemed distant, distracted. Sometimes I'd catch her staring at her phone during dinner, and when I'd ask if everything was okay, she'd snap at me. "Can I not check my messages in peace?" I remember one night vividly. It was a Thursday around 11 p.m. Claire's phone buzzed on the nightstand. She grabbed it quickly, read the message, and started getting dressed. "Where are you going?" I asked, confused. "Ethan's having a mental breakdown. His ex-wife is being horrible about the custody arrangements. He needs someone right now." "At 11 p.m.? Can't it wait until morning?" She looked at me like I'd suggested kicking a puppy. "David, he's my friend. He's going through hell. I'll be back soon." She came home at 1 a.m. I was still awake, anxious, waiting. "Where have you been for 2 hours?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. "I told you. Ethan needed support. We just talked in his car, and I lost track of time." "God, why are you being so possessive?" Something inside me twisted. That feeling when you know something's wrong, but you can't quite name it. That night, after she went to shower, she always showered when she came home late now, I did something I'd never done before. I checked her phone. It was locked, but I knew her passcode, her mother's birthday. Or I thought I did. She'd changed it. My hands started shaking. I tried our anniversary. Wrong. Max's birthday. Wrong. The phone disabled itself for 1 minute. When she came out of the bathroom, I casually mentioned, "Hey, my phone's dead. Can I use yours to check the weather for tomorrow?" "Oh, just use the computer," she said quickly, grabbing her phone from the bed. "Mine's almost dead too." She was lying. The battery showed 73%. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I tried again. This time, I guessed right on the third try, Ethan's birthday, which I'd heard her mention once. I got in. Her messages were deleted. Every single one. All conversations with Ethan gone. Her call log cleared. But she'd forgotten about her cloud backup. I quickly checked her iPad, which synced to her phone, and there it was, a restoration option for deleted messages from 2 days ago. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely tap the screen. The messages loaded, and my world crumbled. Ethan, I can't stop thinking about last night. You're incredible. Claire, me too. I feel alive again when I'm with you. Ethan, when can I see you again? Claire, tomorrow? David has a late meeting. We could go to that hotel again. Ethan, your place? I want to be somewhere we can actually relax. Claire, too risky. He comes home at random times. The hotel is safer. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. The room spun. 10 years of marriage. 10 years of trust, of building a life together, of planning a future. All of it a lie. I didn't confront her immediately. I needed proof I could use legally. I needed to be smart about this. So I did what any betrayed husband in the digital age does. I became a detective. I installed a tracking app on her phone while she slept, disguised as a system update. I set up a Google Voice number and told her it was my new work line, so I could keep her real conversations unmonitored. I even bought a small voice recorder and hid it in her car. For 2 weeks, I gathered evidence. The recordings were devastating. Long conversations about how I was boring and predictable, how Ethan made her feel young again and desired in a way David never could. Plans for future meetups. Complaints about our sex life, or lack thereof, while she was actively refusing me. But I needed visual proof. Something undeniable. A few weeks after discovering the messages, I decided to catch them in the act. Claire told me she had a working lunch with a colleague to discuss the new campaign strategy at Café Mondino downtown. She'd be there from noon to 2. I took an early lunch break and drove to the cafe. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might have a heart attack right there in my car. I parked across the street with a clear view of the outdoor seating area. And there they were. Claire, wearing the blue dress I'd complimented that morning, the one she said she was wearing just because. Ethan, sitting not across from her, but right next to her on a small bench, their thighs touching. They were sharing a dessert with one spoon, laughing at something on his phone. Her hand was on his knee. I took out my phone and started recording. They talked for a while, and Claire kept looking around nervously, probably checking for anyone she knew. Then Ethan took her hand, brought it to his lips, and kissed her fingers slowly, one by one. She closed her eyes, smiling. My heart stopped. 10 years of marriage. I could see it all disappearing in that moment. But it got worse. Ethan leaned in, cupped her face with both hands, and kissed her. Not a quick peck. A deep, passionate kiss that lasted at least 10 seconds. Her hand went to the back of his neck, pulling him closer. I captured it all. Photos, video, timestamps, location data. Everything. I wanted to burst out of the car, to scream, to flip tables. But I didn't. I sat there, tears streaming down my face, and quietly drove away. I didn't go back to work. I drove to a park and sat there for 3 hours, just staring at nothing. My phone buzzed with a text from Claire. Lunch is running long. Might be late tonight. Love you. Red heart. That heart emoji felt like a knife. When I got home that evening, Claire was already there, humming in the kitchen while making dinner like everything was normal. Like she hadn't just destroyed our marriage a few hours earlier. Hey babe, she said cheerfully when I walked in. How was your day? Fine, I said flatly. Yours? Oh, boring meetings. But productive. I think we're really going to nail this campaign. The lies came so easily to her now. I wondered how long she'd been practicing. For a week, I pretended everything was fine. I cooked dinner, joked with her, even asked how Ethan was doing with his divorce. Is your friend feeling any better about the custody situation? I'd ask casually over breakfast. Oh yeah, he's hanging in there. I think having someone to talk to really helps him. She had no idea I was meeting with a divorce attorney every lunch break. That I was transferring money to a separate account she didn't know about. That I was documenting every lie, every late night, every suspicious phone call. My lawyer, Margaret, was sharp as a knife. You've got everything you need, she said after reviewing my evidence. In this state, we can definitely use adultery as grounds for divorce. It'll affect asset division, possibly alimony. But are you sure you want to go nuclear? I want her to understand what she's done, I said quietly. I want her to feel even a fraction of what I'm feeling. Then let me make a few calls, Margaret said with a knowing smile. I might know someone who'd be particularly interested in this case. Our 10th anniversary was coming up in 3 days. Claire had been planning something. I'd seen the reservations at an expensive restaurant in her email. She probably planned to ease her guilt with a nice dinner and some empty promises. I had other plans. On our anniversary, I woke up early and made her favorite breakfast, blueberry pancakes with real maple syrup, crispy bacon, fresh squeezed orange juice. The works. What's all this? She asked, surprised but smiling. It's our anniversary. 10 years. That's worth celebrating, don't you think? Something flickered in her eyes, guilt maybe? But she pushed it down. Of course. Thank you, this is sweet. We ate together, made small talk. She mentioned the dinner reservation. I'm really looking forward to tonight, she said. Actually, I said, I was thinking we could do something more intimate. Stay home, order in, exchange gifts. Like we used to. She looked disappointed for a split second, then recovered. Sure, that sounds nice too. That evening, I ordered from her favorite Italian place. Set the table with candles. Put on the jazz she loved. It was perfect, a recreation of our first anniversary, actually. This is really nice, David, she said, and I almost believed she meant it. I have something for you, I said after dinner, pulling out a wrapped box. Her face lit up. Oh, I have something for you too, but it's still being made. A photo book of our 10 years together. It'll be ready next week. That's okay, I said. Open yours first. She tore off the wrapping paper to find a leather-bound photo album. Oh, David, look through it, I said softly. She opened it, smiling at the early photos, our wedding day, her in that stunning white dress, me unable to stop grinning like an idiot. Our honeymoon in Greece. The day we bought this house. Christmases, birthdays, vacations. Max as a puppy. Her graduation from her MBA program. 10 years of memories, of building a life together. She was getting misty-eyed, her hand on her chest. This is beautiful. Keep going, I said. She turned another page. And another. The photos became more recent. Last year's vacation. Our anniversary dinner. Then, her face went pale. The photo I took outside Café Mondino. Her and Ethan holding hands. Then kissing. Then screenshots of their messages. Call logs. Hotel receipts I'd found in her coat pocket. Everything. The last page had just one sentence in bold letters. I know everything. David, she whispered, her voice shaking. This isn't. Don't, I said calmly. Don't insult me with more lies. Tears started streaming down her face. It just happened, I didn't mean for. How long? I cut her off. What? How? Long. She couldn't meet my eyes. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Of coming home to me after being with him. Of planning our future while destroying it behind my back. I already filed for divorce, I said quietly. The papers will be served tomorrow. Her head snapped up. What? No, David, we can work through this. We can go to counseling. There's nothing to work through. You made your choice. Now you live with it. Please, she sobbed. I love you. It was a mistake. I'll end it with Ethan right now. I'll never see him again. I don't care what you do with Ethan. But you won't be doing it as my wife. David, please, 10 years. Means nothing, apparently. I stood up. Oh, and one more thing. Your divorce lawyer? Margaret Chin. You'll be hearing from her assistant tomorrow. And guess who she is? Claire's eyes widened in confusion. Jennifer Morrison. Ethan's ex-wife. Turns out, when I told her what you two have been up to, she was very interested in representing me. She sends her regards. Claire moved out a week later. She tried everything, crying, begging, angry outbursts, promises to change. None of it worked. Seeing her fall apart should have given me satisfaction, but mostly I just felt empty. The divorce moved quickly. With adultery clearly documented and Jennifer highly motivated to make Claire's life difficult. Apparently Ethan had cheated with Claire while still married to Jennifer. The settlement was heavily in my favor. Claire got minimal assets and no alimony. The best part, Ethan dumped her about 2 weeks after she moved out. According to mutual friends, when Claire showed up at his apartment expecting to finally be together openly, he told her he wasn't ready for another commitment and needed space to heal from his divorce. Turns out, she wasn't special. She was just available. Claire tried to rebuild her life, but our social circle sided with me. Her job became uncomfortable when people found out about the affair. Apparently sleeping with someone from a client company violated some ethics policy. She ended up leaving the company. Last I heard from a mutual friend, she was living in a small apartment across town, working for a startup, trying to piece together what remained of her life. Alone. As for me, I threw myself into healing. I went to therapy, not couples therapy, just regular therapy to process the betrayal. Turned out I'd been ignoring a lot of red flags because I was so invested in the marriage I'd built in my head rather than the one I was actually in. I started going to the gym seriously, not just to look better, but to feel stronger, to reclaim my body and my confidence. I picked up hobbies I'd abandoned: photography, hiking, cooking beyond basic meals. I even got a promotion at work after 6 months. Turns out, when you're not spending energy worrying about whether your wife is being faithful, you can focus on your career. About 8 months after the divorce was finalized, I met someone. Her name's Lisa, and she's a veterinarian who treated Max after he ate something he shouldn't have. We started talking in the waiting room, exchanged numbers, and went for coffee. This time I took things slow. Really slow. I was honest about my divorce, my trust issues, my fears. And she was patient, understanding, and most importantly, genuinely interested in building something real, not chasing some fantasy of her past. We've been together for 4 months now, and it feels different. Lighter. More honest. She doesn't hide her phone or delete messages. She introduces me to her friends and family. When she says she loves me, I believe her. Sometimes life has a funny way of showing you who people really are. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply walking away stronger and building something better. I still see Claire occasionally. Our city isn't that big. She looks tired, older somehow. Once, about 3 months ago, I ran into her at the grocery store. She tried to apologize again, said she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. I told her I forgave her. Not for her sake, but for mine. Because holding on to that anger was only hurting me. I hope you find what you're looking for, I said honestly. She started to cry, but I'd already turned to leave. So yeah, my wife's friend from college turned out to be much more than a friend. He was the catalyst that destroyed a decade of marriage, revealed the woman I loved was capable of systematic deception, and ultimately forced me to rebuild my entire life. But losing her was the best thing that ever happened to me. It taught me that trust is earned, not assumed. That love without respect is meaningless. That sometimes the life you think you want isn't the life you need. I'm happy now. Genuinely happy, not just making the best of it happy. And Claire? Well, she got exactly what she deserved. This was my story. Thank you for watching the video to the end. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. A playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to is now displayed on the screen. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.